Understanding how networking works for computers is a little intimidating to a lot of control engineers where they're used to field device wiring, and especially since there's a few different ways that these networks can be connected. So let me explain a couple of them and explain why one of them is really important for redundancy and reliability in systems. So the first one we're going to talk about is what's called a star topology. And star topology is where we have a central device, a network switch or a router, and everything is connected off of that switch or router. And each one of these devices has a connection back to the central controller or to any other system, say a server or a cloud system. And as we connect each one of our devices, it would come online and communicate through that network switch. So each one of the devices comes back to the network switch. Again, this is called star topology. And if we think about a star, it's a central piece with a bunch of lines coming out of it. That's typically how we draw a star. This is a great system, lots of ports on our switch to be able to connect everything. But what happens if there's one failure in a cable somewhere? One wire comes loose, and all of a sudden we've lost a part of our critical control system. That's not great for redundancy. So let's look at another type of topology. The other type of topology is what we call ring. Now, ring topology is very important in the control and the remote I/O system because if anything is to lose communication, we certainly hope it's not our controller. So as before, we have one connection from the switch to our controller, and then we have a connection from the controller to the remote I/O devices. And very often these remote I/O devices, just like this one, will have two Ethernet ports. You can buy controllers with one Ethernet port or two, and this is one of the benefits of two connections. Now, from this second connection, we can return back to the original network switch. So our signal comes out from the switch to the controller, to all the other devices, and then returns back to the network in a big loop. That's why they call it ring. Now let's see what happens if one of these cables gets disconnected, jostled, broken, and we lose the signal. But it's okay because we still have a route that's connecting all of our devices together, giving us that extra protection and redundancy. Now on the downside of that, we used an extra set of connections on our original switch, but the larger our system gets, we connect more and more devices, and we find that we're actually using fewer network connections on our switch. So that's the difference between ring and star. Star is a much more typical network where everything is connected back to a central point, easy for organization and finding all of our signals, but it's not so great for reliability, where if we lose one signal, this ring level topology allows us redundancy, and if a wire breaks, we still have a solid connection route between all of our devices. We can find that broken cable, and we can repair that or replace that broken cable without losing our entire network.